Hello everybody, this is Chaos with KLC Sports Productions, and welcome to my very first episode of Bronze League Heroes! Okay, but really. Anyways, we actually have a very interesting viewer cast for you today. Today we are going to be looking at the fundamentals of KeeNVipeR's strategy against Terran. Now, the reason I had to open with the probably trademarked Bronze League Heroes, what's the word? Yell from a top of a mountain opening, is because when I got this, I read the email and then looked at the description where the attachment was, and it was titled Bronze League Heroes. So I had to open it like that. Sorry. Anyways, PvT is the name of the game, and this is by far the kookiest game I have ever seen in my life. Well, probably not the kookiest. I'm pretty sure Husky's had his fair share of kookiness, but nonetheless, it's just absolutely crazy. We're going to go ahead and speed this up because this is a fairly long video. I'm going to assume that these guys are in Bronze League, but when I loaded into this game, it didn't show me either player's picture, so I don't know. So first of all, we are going to notice that our fun Protoss player KeeNVipeR is going to be going gasless. Why, you ask? I have no idea. But nonetheless, see how it all plays out. Finally going to be getting his gas as soon as his cybernetics core finishes. That way he can wait, I don't know, a minute and a half to get his warp gate research started. Over in Mr. It's like Scorpion, but Serapion. I don't know. Anyways, over in the Terran players' side of the camp, we're going to see a 2 racks, a 3 racks, maybe even a 4 racks, depending on how... Oh, nope. 3 racks factory. We are 5 minutes in, so I'm not a Terran timing person, so I'm not quite sure how early or late that is. But Mr. Terran player is going to be sticking on one base for a fair amount of time, so... Second gas going to be coming up for KeeNVipeR. Lots of zealots being made at 3 at a time. Now, I do want to make a quick comment about his playstyle, just because I do want to kind of keep this as a viewer cast type video, and do want to talk about mechanics a little bit. So, as I mentioned before, getting the gas after your cybernetics core finished, not exactly the most optimal thing. You want to definitely get your gas down a little bit after your gateway is planted. So usually around the 14-15 supply, you'll throw down your gas, and then you'll throw down your second pylon. That way you can throw 3 guys in that gas and mine up enough gas to have just enough for warp gate research once your cybernetics core finishes. So build wise, you know, if you truly are in Bronze League, I would highly recommend taking a look at some of the builds that I've done. Usually, I've done a couple like 1 gate expand builds into a robo, and then I've done some safer builds where it's like a 2 or 3 gate expand before the robo. So just keep in mind, you might want to take a look at some builds that are out there for the PvT matchup, and just see what kind of floats your boat as far as play styles. Anyways, going to be continuing on getting up your units. Mr. Terran player is going to be doing the same, getting up his starports, because, you know, starports, 2 starports, you know, one's just not good enough. You definitely need 2. So KeeNVipeR is actually going to be playing more of a macro style, getting up his expansion, feeling good about himself. We do see his floating quite a bit of money, which is probably not the most advantageous thing in the world. Should definitely continue on keeping your pro production up throughout the entire game. General rule of thumb, if you're not maxed out on 2 bases, or have at least 2 bases worth of economy, you want to continue building probes. Generally by the end of the game, you have somewhere in the ballpark of 60 to 70 probes. And then when you get into super late game, you probably want to scale that back down to like 48 to 60. That way your army's not too terribly small. Oh, gonna be seeing double Stargate. You know, in the Bronze League, this might be okay, but generally you want to get at least some sort of information, you know, scouting information to know what your opponent's doing. As we can see, you haven't scouted, and he hasn't scouted, so neither player have scouted, so basically you are fighting blind, as I would put it. Do have good consistent probe production now that your expansion's up. I'm not quite sure why you're only building off of one Nexus at a time. Probably might want to look at some hotkey, you know, basics. Learn how to, you know, throw your Nexus on a hotkey. Basically, you just pick one, you pick the other, you hit Shift, and then any of the numbers, and then you can basically hit that number, and it'll take you right to that, you know, hot group. I'll be putting out a video probably here in the next week or so, just basic hotkeys as well as APM improvements, so be on the lookout for that. Go into a little bit more detail of just those type of mechanics. So you're going to send out a Zealot. Terran player. Now, how do you know when you're watching a Bronze League game? When you see 1, 2, 5 full medevacs, a single Zealot come and do half damage worth of a supply depot versus 2 siege tanks. So we've got seven more or less full medevacs coming over. Now, granted, we do have a fair number of Stalkers and the Void Rays out of our wonderful hero, and all of those units just pretty much get annihilated. 50 whoa, Dancing Stalker. 50 supply deficit for the Terran player, and basically at this point it's just kind of we're gonna sit at each other's base, not really do anything, kind of keep that ceasefire thing going, because, you know, if you do it for 18 minutes, why not do it for another 18 minutes? So we're going to go ahead and speed it up, watch both players get all their wonderful armies up, and then more or less go kill each other. So yeah, pretty non-interesting game besides the doom drop that failed miserably. Other than that, he's basically going to A-move over to his opponent. Now, I did find it really funny, because in a moment here, there's going to be... Yes! So he lost his observer that was sitting over here with all these Vikings, and, you know, he's like, wow, you're making a lot of Vikings. I wonder what for. And then finally, as time goes on, and once KeeNVipeR hits around 188 supplies, he will ask the daring question. Are you maxed out yet? Which is really funny because Sirpion is like been on one base this entire game. He didn't even bother to build another command center. He just like decided he wanted to pick it up, plop it down in his natural, and continue mining. Kind of amusing. Also, we got like siege fortress mode going on with all these missile turrets and whatnot. And yeah, overall, he's just gonna do a little dance here in the middle of the map. Go back, go forth, and back. Come in here, and walk over the third base, and wait for it, wait for it. Tanks die, natural dies, game over. And that is the most non-interesting Bronze League hero game, minus the Doom drop, I've ever seen in my life. It was actually the most hilarious thing to watch first time through, because I was just like, oh wait, what? When did all these show up? I don't even remember when those went down. How did I not notice that the first time? I don't know. Anyways, so overall, KeeNVipeR, I would highly recommend taking a look at some standard builds for PvT. Mechanically, I mean, your APM's pretty low, but that's kind of to be expected for most bronze players. The way that I like to start helping people is basically by telling them to go find a build, go into a game versus an AI, and just practice the heck out of that build. Just try to get all of the timings down 100% perfect all the time and make sure your unit counts and things like that are, you know, relatively decent to what you see in the guides, because that will be a good way to start getting the mechanics down and understanding, okay, how do I make sure that I get this building down at this time without any screw ups. But yeah, overall, I don't think this game was. It's kind of hard to analyze something that's, you know, basically both players sitting in each other's base, building up an army, and then attacking. So, I hope you enjoyed the little cast. If you have any more specific questions, I have a hard time giving thorough, in-depth analysis to something that's, you know, a little bit vague. If you have more specific questions, feel free to leave those in the comment section below. Also, if you're not KeeNVipeR and you did enjoy this, feel free to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I release viewer casts as well as Bronze to Masters League series weekly, so feel free to check all those other videos out on my channel. If you would like to submit a game to me that you would like me to cast, give you a little bit more critique, feel free to shoot an email to the email in the description. And I think that's all I got. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next game.